What's up, guys? We're here at AMC Town Square with Chasing Cinema.
Mr. James Hsu.com,
and I can't believe it's already 1 year ago.
It's Collateral Beauty.
Yes.
No, I'm just kidding. What's it really, Mr. Hsu?
Star Wars story.
Rogue One.
A Star Wars story.
Second Star Wars movie in a year. Well, in 2 years. It's going pretty quick.
It's exciting. I can't believe Force Awakens.
How pumped are you?
I'm jacked.
Yeah?
I'm jacked. I never even cared about Star Wars, and then episode...
That's what's the funniest thing, because I still see comments on our video for Force Awakens, like, what did this guy just say? He doesn't like 4, 5, and 6. So how do you feel
No,
like...
it's not that I don't like them. I've never seen them.
Didn't you watch them before Force Awakens?
No.
At all?
No.
Oh, wow. So you just never experienced
I attempted part 4, and I just couldn't do it.
Oh, man. Well, how do you feel now that you're going into a prequel?
Good, because I liked 1, 2, 3. Sorry.
So you like that it's actually connecting?
Yeah.
All right. Cool, cool, cool. But you might be missing out on some stuff that they're going to be referencing. But I don't know. Going in, not knowing much, I've luckily avoided most of the trailers. I've yet to see the modern version of Darth Vader, so I'm really excited about that. And I'm excited to see what else they have thrown in there for us.
Yeah, director Gareth Edwards showed George Lucas the film ready, and George Lucas said it was good.
I've not heard much negativity, if at all. And, you know, a lot of people haven't spoken. A lot of the local reviews haven't come out yet, so I don't know what my good friends have all liked about this movie. But I do know, for the bigger guys, everyone has really enjoyed it. Yeah. Some even going as far as saying this is the best Star Wars film since Empire Strikes Back.
And some people
that
say
would
it's the
shock
best Star Wars film.
Yeah, I've even heard that.
Yeah, some people
that would be pretty shocking, though, because I mean, Empire is like really, really up there. But I'm willing after Force Awakens and after just kind of what Disney's doing, I'm all for it, and I can't go in doubtful.
All right.
2 hours and 12 minutes.
What are you expecting? Good?
Oh, of course. Well, I would hope so. But, you know, I'm interested in seeing how this kind of unrelated Star Wars movies feel for all the audiences, and see if, you know, maybe taking us out of kind of the whole center of all the Star Wars that we know and love will change the kind of mood of everything. And will the reoccurrence of Star Wars so soon start to wear off the specialness of Star Wars? That's what I'm kind of interested in.
Well, Bob Iger said that this is definitely an experiment, this first one. So let's see if this one's going to be great.
I know, because like, you think you'd want to go with like the Han Solo one, or something that is familiar still, but they're going like straight into like these characters that nobody knows, all fresh new characters. The only thing that I'm like super excited to see is Donnie Yen.
Yes.
If you've seen it, man, and this guy with, you know, kicking some ass, I mean, you got to be pumped for him in this.
Well, let's see if this one's gonna be the Rogue One.
Ooh.
All right, so we just got out of Rogue One, a Star Wars story, and I thought that, I thought that this movie was just fantastic. There was nothing I didn't like about it. I liked the score. I liked the characters. I loved it, loved it, loved it, loved it. And I think the last 30 minutes is just one of the most beautiful things ever. They're on a beach. They're fighting. That's not a
spoiler.
That's not a no. That's in the trailer.
No, I said it's not a spoiler.
Yeah, so they're fighting. It's just so beautiful to see the stormtroopers and, you know, the war, Star Wars. It's so exciting. And then the planes, what are those called?
TIE fighters?
Thank you. TIE fighters. That whole space scene was absolutely beautiful. And
so
then
you would know that if you saw
the last 3 minutes of this movie, I wanted to just take all my clothes off and I wanted to run around the theater.
Now, for those of you at home that aren't familiar with me and Mr. Hsu's work, is that a good thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's a good thing. That's like, it was so beautiful. That last 3 minutes of the film was just so beautiful. And then, yeah, man.
I think that's really interesting, though.
Taking off your clothes and running around the theater?
No, well, that is weird, but maybe towards the end we'll do like a little something. I mean, there's not much to super spoil in this movie because we already kind of know how this all works out.
Someone does die in this film.
But I want to ask you about that when we get to towards the end of the spoiler. But go on. Anything other standouts? Or I mean,
well, I thought the CG was amazing. I don't think this is a spoiler. The General Tarkin or Admiral?
Or I think General. I want to say General, but I can't.
Yeah, well, the guy that Tarkin died 20 years ago plus, and you know, he's in this film. I don't think that's a spoiler, it just looked amazing. Like, that was him.
Using CGI, and I'm assuming the same technology they use for Planet of the Apes. I'm spacing on the name of the technology. when they wear the things all over them.
Motion capture.
Motion capture. So I'm sure they kind of use the blend of this to kind of place the face over it. Yeah, that was pretty amazing.
It's amazing. And then I thought the score was amazing. I thought the visual effects were amazing. I loved the story. You know, because I know the story of part 4 and 5 and 6. I know what happens, and I know that, you know, Darth Vader is the father. I know that stuff. I know that stuff, but I never watched them. But it's funny because the opening crawl of part 4, New Hope, it starts with these rebellions stole the plans of the Death Star, and you're able to make that an entire film.
Yeah.
And man, it's just what we always talk about. Like Disney, they are these chefs in the kitchen, right? And they're like, okay, so you know, they just concoct these amazing things.
And you know, and it really kind of goes back to being smart enough to know when it's time for you to step out of the kitchen and let someone fresh. Yep. I mean, their continuing journey to find new talent to take on these movies, you know, is really amazing for them to be so kind of just open to letting other people take the franchise. And even though different, each of them have kind of their own distinct style. I mean, you look at Force Awakens and you look at this, they're obviously done by 2 different filmmakers. However, you do still believe that they're in the same world and that they still have this kind of beautiful connection.
No, it's just exciting just because so you have this one. I genuinely want to watch part 4. I'll attempt to. I don't know how far I'll get into it, but it's exciting because then you see part 4, I'm assuming it opens with Princess Leia, and now she has the Death Star plans. That's not a spoiler. That's if you've seen part 4 anyway.
Well, and that's kind of my question. So, well, it's not necessarily Princess Leia. You see the actual message that she sends, the hologram. So I wanted to know, like, well, actually, I'll kind of wait on that. Anyway, what did you feel about the new characters that were introduced? I
loved them all. I thought Felicity Jones did as Jyn Erso. I thought she did a fantastic job. I thought K2SO. K2SO was so freaking funny, and they add the comedy too at the right points.
Yeah.
I don't think there was any part where it was like, oh, it's too much comedy.
Yeah, no, I totally agree.
It's so spaced out, oh so well. They throw him in at the right time. Donnie Yen's character, I don't even know how to say that name, so I'm not going to attempt to. But Donnie Yen's character, again, he was funny.
Yeah.
And he added all this mystique to it. And there was no Jedi in this film or the Force powers, really. I don't think there was anyways. Or I guess maybe Donnie Yen maybe had a glimpse of that. But
Well, there was Force powers, but...
Okay, but it wasn't apparent.
No, no, until the kind of closing moments.
But yeah, I don't know. It's weird because BB-8 in Episode 7 was destroyed. Where I was just like, oh my gosh, how does he have he has so much? I thought
so much character.
BB-8 had so much personality, and then again K2SO, he's wearing the shirt. He had so much personality. And it's like these are droids, you know, and they're so funny, and I thought that the story made sense. I was like, oh, okay. Because if you've seen A New Hope, it is kind of dumb that it's like, I don't think this is, Luke, I don't even know, Luke Skywalker, you know,
he's kidding.
The missile thing puts it in the Death Star, and it's like, it just blows up. It is kind of dumb.
Very simple.
But in this movie, it explains that so well, where it's like, oh, that's no wonder why Jyn Erso.
This is all the work that kind of went into it.
Yeah, no wonder. This makes sense. I loved it, 100%. I don't know if this is my favorite movie of the year. I probably need to watch it one more time, but it's at least that number 1, number 2. It's like right there.
It's up there.
I thought it was amazing.
How do you compare this with Force Awakens?
Oh man, I don't know, bro. I loved it. I don't know which one I even like better.
It's hard because, you know, you have Force Awakens, which is like super fan service. Like, it gives you everything all the Star Wars fans have been wanting. In this movie, you kind of have to go into some unknown territory, even though there are some familiar faces when we go along the way. So I could really kind of see how there's a lot of conflict there, because as a story, Rogue One might have them beat, but as far as just like seeing and kind of reliving, Force Awakens just kind of touches all those funny
parts. And plus you had lightsabers and, you know, the whole lore of Star Wars.
I'm with you. I really enjoyed this movie. I thought that the story, the thing that has impressed me most about these new Star Wars films is how well they've been able to really develop and make these really great characters. Multiple, not just one great character. Mostly all of these characters that we're interacting with. Really great, memorable, lovable characters. I thought it was really amazing that, you know, as a kid, I knew the most badass man in the galaxy was Darth Vader. Last year, I would say the most badass man in the galaxy was Kylo Ren. And now, I have to argue that maybe Donnie Yen might be the most badass man in the galaxy. He's got to be at least up there, because I mean, probably the first major action sequence we have is Donnie Yen, and it is just like jaw-dropping, and you're just like, man, only if they put a lightsaber in that dude's hand. You know, I mean, it was unreal. I was really, really just kind of blown away by that. But I mean, the chemistry between different characters, the way they interacted, I really was involved in those characters, and I was really surprised about that they were able to kind of pull that away from Force Awakens. I think the story was really strong, and I think it was a really great way. You know, a lot of people have been kind of saying Rogue One puts war in Star Wars. You know, it really kind of tells this war story, and that's very true. I don't think that it was always like lacked in all the other films. Like a lot of people were like, this is the first movie that has war, you know, because that's not true. But I think this movie does kind of really show you the sacrifices of all these, you know, great characters that we don't always see, but we hear a lot about off screen. Darth Vader, how'd you feel about that?
Dude. He's only in the movie for about 4 minutes.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, he's only about...
I was actually expecting a little bit more Vader.
The first scene of him, the whole neck thing, funny.
Yeah, great moment.
That last scene, the last scene that you have of Darth Vader when you see the movie, you just want to tear all your clothes off and run around.
Some might feel that way. I mean, I think just the way they presented him, you know, they show him in shadow when we first see him. We just kind of see this giant figure, one of the greatest villains in the history of cinema. I mean, it's a really spectacular moment, and he doesn't disappoint. I think Felicity Jones, though, I mean, was absolutely phenomenal in this movie. I think she was so good in this movie. Way better than Megan Fox. Tenfold. That's a little side argument. But I'm trying to think of what else the score, you know, I did enjoy the scoring for this being the first film that had not been, you know, head by John Williams. The gentleman who did Up and he did Star Trek, Michael Giannocco, or whichever way you pronounce his last name. I thought he did a good job, but I did feel like I kept getting teased for the music that I really wanted to hear, and I think that was just kind of a bummer. Like most of the movie I was cool with, but there's a few parts they try to hit you with those really classic themes, and they don't really get to it, you know, especially in those final moments.
Yeah, they changed some octaves.
Yeah, they changed. Yeah. You know, it just like, damn, like I really wish we could be there. And, you know, I can't really blame them for that. But to me, that was just a little bit of kind of a stand. And that was probably the only thing that I was like, damn, so close. But otherwise, I think this is a really great movie. It's not one that you need to know a lot of Star Wars lore to understand.
I haven't even seen 4, 5, 6.
Like you said, yeah, 4, 5, and 6. CGI was amazing. Visual effects, I would hope to see Star Wars Rogue One in the visual effects category at the Oscars. I think it's very deserving. I think they did a lot of incredible stuff. And Disney's unstoppable. They're unstoppable.
Taking over the world, or at least Hollywood.
But I will hope that the people who are in charge of the comedy in Star Wars can tell the Marvel people to tone it down a little bit. We don't need that much. Because like you said, there was a perfect amount of comic relief. It worked. It was nice. But I mean, overall, this movie is just really putting us in a lot of touching and moving moments where characters are just kind of, you know, we have a lot of close characters. Everyone has these really like close ties, and those are usually at points where we're seeing them almost destroyed. So I mean, it's pretty powerful. I mean, I got very emotional in this movie multiple times. So even though it does have an amazing action sequence and about a 45-minute war sequence at the end,
something like that,
there's a lot of emotion in this movie, and I think that's where Disney strives.
Yeah, it's exciting because you were gonna say?
No, go on.
No, it's exciting because we had Episode 7, Rogue One, and then next year's gonna be Episode 8.
Yeah.
Then the next year's the Han Solo, and then they're gonna continue to announce it. And you were saying at the beginning, is it gonna get tiresome? Like, I don't know, man. I don't know
if I necessarily mean that the Star Wars will get tiresome, but will that, like, because you know it's still special. It's still like we're bringing back this amazing entity that has been an icon in cinema. But once it becomes yearly, like 2-3 years down the road, are we going to be like, okay, Star Wars is just kind of like a Marvel movie. It's normal. It's what we see. I'm excited to see it, but will it still have that specialness? Here, I think it does. And again, I think what's so amazing about this and what's such a testament to this movie's success is that it absolutely is probably the farthest thing from what we know of Star Wars. So again, even though there is fan service, and I think maybe just a little bit too much, to be honest with you. There's one cameo in the movie that I just kind of felt was unnecessary and just thrown in there, and it didn't feel like it really worked for me. Not that it was a big deal, it's only literally like 2 seconds, but I was just like, I didn't need that. The ending was good enough.
Did the blue milk mean anything to you?
The blue what?
Milk.
No.
That's it. That's a.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff that I'm sure that I missed that's probably worth watching. A New Hope, and then coming back and watching this directly after, because I mean, there's just so much going on, and you're just kind of carrying on with these characters that you don't know. But yeah, I'm not even talking about references. I'm talking about like character cameos that just kind of I just thought was a little bit much. But you know, again, no complaints. I still really enjoyed myself.
Rumor says they're gonna switch it to 2 movies a year.
Yeah, and
so 1 episode and 1.
I mean, if Disney can do what they're doing with Marvel, and produce that amount of movies,
they're doing 3 a year. Sorry,
if they could do that and still, for the majority, be positive, good movies, you know, movies in the positive, I don't doubt that, because people hold. I mean, that's an interesting argument, but I mean, the Star Wars fans are really, really like diehard, so I don't think that's gonna be dying off anytime soon. You want to do some spoilers, or do you have anything else to say that's not spoilers?
Good.
Okay, spoilers. So my question to you is, so did that moment with Leia, like, I guess, I'm interested in the fact that Leia moment pays off for you so much, because you don't really know, like, exactly where that connects to. Like, you're aware of it.
Well,
but, like, that outfit, that moment, like, you know that she's, like, what's about to happen, for, like, those who watched for. So I'm interested in seeing, like, how that still hits you.
I loved it.
Yeah.
But when this movie was announced 2 or 3 years ago,
yeah.
I was already told that Rogue One was going to. When I was told, it was just the rumor mill or whatever, and they were actually right on it, that this movie would end right where Episode 4 begins, and it really did.
Essentially, yeah.
It really did. So, you know, the whole time I'm watching this, and I'm just like, you know, this is that's awesome that so many people love 4, 5, and 6, and that, you know, this, if they can create a great story where it ties into this, because I always thought, I was like, is there really a whole movie about stealing the Death Star plans? And obviously there was, obviously.
Yeah.
So I loved it. And that Darth Vader scene, where he's never looked that good. Kent said that too. Darth Vader never looked that good, because he doesn't do that crap in 4, 5, 6.
Well, because the whole the great thing about Darth Vader is it's all like just in his presence. Like, that dude walks into a room and everyone's scared. And like, this was really cool because you kind of got to see that side of him, just trying to get us out of here. That just kind of unleashing side. I mean, it was all about presence in 4, 5, and 6. It was all about him just dominating a room and dominating a scene. And of course, like, just hearing James Earl Jones' voice in that few moments, you still kind of feel that terrifying moment. Like, that's why I think, even I love the ending, I think the actual scene in the middle of the movie,
the choking,
is more effective for me. Just because you hear his face, and then like just so effortlessly will walk away from you. Doesn't even need to face you, but will make you realize that he is the biggest threat in the galaxy. And to me, like, just like that speaks to his character tenfold more times than, you know.
I freaking loved it.
I thought the villain was really good. I always forget his name. He's a really, really good actor. He was actually in Batman. I kept thinking about his scene in Batman.
Oh,
where he's like, "You're a monster."
The Dark Knight Rises. Dark Knight Rises.
And Bane just
that's right.
Yeah, that's
right.
that same dude. But yeah, I think the ending is a really great payoff. And what I was saying before, if you're still watching, I wasn't crazy about the C-3PO cameo.
Why?
I just didn't feel like it was necessary. It just kind of felt extra and added in. And I was just like, all right, like, I get it. But with the ending, I just don't even think you need those 2 characters in there. But, you know,
they've been in
small
every
mini
film.
complaints, yeah.
Yeah, and there's who said this? Someone said that they're that's the thing, though. They're just gonna be in every film.
Every film that's just gonna be.
Any film that's ever made, they will be in every film. And that also that one. What's that thing where someone gets killed and then there's that? Whoa! That's in every Star Wars film also. Do you know what I'm talking about? What is it? Yeah, the Wilhelms. Yeah. And I was listening for that in this one too. That's in every Star Wars film too.
Yeah, I mean,
doesn't sound like that, but you understand what I mean.
The ending was pretty awesome, and Leia looked amazing. I mean,
I thought
we were talking about. I mean, I was saying beforehand, before we started reviewing, that I think that the way that they did, what's the name? You just said it, Tarkin. He just looked. I think he just like he. I was just like so
real.
Captivated by him. He did look real, and it was just like, man, that's so sad that he's not. He's like, you know, obviously like, he's passed on and all those things. But I think that they kind of kept that CGI. I mean, you could tell, but I think it was a little bit more hidden. They kept him in the shadows. But then you have that moment with Leia when she's like in this bright white.
Oh, that's bright white.
Yeah, I mean, it's
look
just
at
like
my face.
The savior, you know, who's about to be the savior and stuff. I mean, it was still really amazing. So, again, visual effects. I hope the Academy Awards takes note.
I really hope I can watch Episode 4 tomorrow.
Do it, dude.
Because I want to see, like,
If you got,
I just got so jacked up.
if me and Vuitton got to come over and sit and make you watch, but you shouldn't just stop at 4 either. You should watch 4, 5, and 6 because you get 4.
I need the bridging of the gaps.
And don't
I need
get me
solo
wrong.
films between 4 and 5, and solo films between
Don't get me
5
wrong.
and 6.
And 4 is great, but I mean, then you got 5. Like you're
Which
one
is
movie
most
away
Phil's
from the
favorite
greatest
ones,
Star Wars movie of all time. Yeah, and then I'm really, I mean, like I'm happy that people love this movie as much as they love Empire, or at least to even say this is the second best Star Wars movie, or even saying this is the best Star Wars movie. I could see where that sentiment comes because these guys have taken a prop. It's the opposite of what most people do. They say, let's pick a property that people are already fans of and let's just make it. They're like, let's pick a property that people know, but let's do something completely different. And let's do something they don't know about. And that takes a lot of guts, and more power to them for making a really, really great film.
Freaking Kathleen Kennedy, Bob Iger.
Killing it.
Love it. All right. This year is almost to an end, so don't forget, we always have our annual top 10 favorite films of 2000.
We usually kind of wait till mid-January because there's some films that
you make us do that.
No, because there's still some films that you need to see by the time we get there. And plus, there's movies that I'm not even going to see. Silence doesn't open here until the end of January. And that would be a more entertaining movie. I'd like to see that before
Golden Globes didn't even talk about it.
Yeah, well... I mean, the Golden Globes, they just want celebrity there. They don't care. They're just like, hey, Angelina, can you come over? So forget all that. But we'll be doing that at some point. And that's like my final time. That's when I let my list lie. I do a bunch of voting. I do a top 10 list. But when me and you do it, it's how I leave it for the rest of the year. So we got to give it some time. But in the next few days, we're going to be releasing...
Beauty.
Yeah, we're going to be releasing a lot of reviews because we have Passengers, which I believe is on Wednesday. Tuesday night.
I'm so excited for that.
And then we have all movies that are opening on Christmas.
I'm hoping that movie makes my top 10.
Assassin's Creed.
I'm not excited about that.
I think Fences.
I'll watch it. I just pissed off Dallas.
Fences. Well,
Dallas looks amazing.
Dallas, you can't be mad at him.
Dallas,
and look at the track record for video games.
Let's go together.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we have. I think there are a few other movies that I've seen already that are coming out on Christmas that we'll be reviewing. So there'll be a lot of reviews in the upcoming week.
All right. Well, I'm pumped up again.
May the force be with you, Hsu.
Thank you, sir. ChasingCinema.com is known as
Film Lovers website.